Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, I'll show you how to install Rust in your system, and after that, we are going to install some pretty cool plugins in the VS Code. So basically, we are going to use VS Code in this tutorial series that are going to enhance your productivity while development. And at the end of the video, we are going to look into some basic commands that we can use, and we are also going to look into some tooling that we can use to make the code much better and make your developer experience more productive. So installing Rust is pretty easy. All we need to do is go to their official website, then click on this install. Then we need to download the version that we need. For me, I need 64-bit version. So I'll just click the download button and then it will download the exe for me. So currently I'm doing the installation in Windows. So I'll run it. So it says proceed with installation default, customize installation, cancel installation. So I'll just go with the default installation. So it's going to download everything and install everything we need for running Rust. So it's downloading Cargo, Clippy, Rustox. These all we are going to discuss later in the series. So once it's properly installed, it's going to show us press enter to continue. Now we need to have a look that if it's properly installed or not. So we can simply do rust up version. So we have version 1.66. We can also check the version for cargo. We'll do cargo version as well. So we have 1.66 for both rust up and for cargo. So our installation is pretty much done. So now I'm going to open Notepad and write a small program, Rust program with extension .rs. So I'll call it hello.rs and I'll change it to all files. And I'm going to save it in this folder. Yeah, to go into the folder and we're going to compile the file using rustc hello.rs. So if we have a look, now we have three files, a exe file executable that we are going to run right now. And we also have a PDB file, which is project database file, which stores the project state information and debugging related data. So now we can run the executable simply by doing this. So this is how we can run the program using Rust C, but it's not very scalable because we have to compile each file again and again. So for this, we are now going to use Cargo to create a project, and it basically provides us with a lot of tooling. So now let's create a project using Cargo. So I'll go into my terminal and I'll write Cargo new YT. So it will create a binary package for me. So if I go into this folder and I do tree, so it will show us that it's having a SRC folder. It's not showing much. So let's do ls. So now we have a SRC folder, a git ignore, and a cargo.toml. These are automatically generated. Yeah, so let's also have a look into the hidden files. So if I do lsh, we also get a .git file when we use cargo new. So to not create this git file, what we can do is we can do cargo new name of the project. Let's call it ttt. We can give vcs flag as none. Now let's go into DTT. So if I look into the hidden file, there is no hidden file. So the .git file is not there. So if you want to have a git file, then you can do cargo new project name. And if you don't want the git file to be there, then you can do dash dash vcs none. So now we are going to open our project in VS Code. For that, we can simply do code dot. So it's going to open our project in VS Code. So here we have cargo.toml, we have main.rs, and we can see that the cargo.toml is not highlighted. To highlight it, we can add an extension, even better toml. So now if we go back to the toml file, it's highlighted. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add a dependency. For that we can do cargo add. We are going to add rand. So the crate is now added, but we don't know if this version is dated or outdated. To know that, we can add another extension called crates. So now if we go back into the cargo.toml, it's going to highlight us that it's a updated version. So if I make it outdated by doing 0.7.3 and save it, so it's going to show us a cross mark that this version is not. Right now, if we have a look into the main.rs file and hover over the main function, we are not getting any information. And if we try to do, we are not getting any autocomplete also. And we are also not getting any red swigglies if our code is not proper. So for that, what we need to do is we need to install the plugin called Rust Analyzer. So let's do that. So now we get the red swigglies. And if we try to do, it's also giving us autocomplete. So this is the benefit of using Rust Analyzer. So once we correct our code and save it, there are no more swigglies. And now it's going to show us yellow swigglies because we are not using this IO that we have imported. And the Rust Analyzer also provides us with the run and the debug. Right now the debug is not there. We need to install code LLDB for that. So let's do that. So now the code LLDB is installed. So now let's press the debug. Since we don't have anything in our code right now, so it's just showing it and exiting it. So let's create a variable. Let's create a breakpoint and again debug it. So now it opens the variable pan and it also opens watch and it also opens the call stack. We can step over, step in and step out also. So now we are going to have a look at what commands we can use with cargo. So we are going to simply do cargo dash dash help. So it shows us that we can use the following commands. We can build our project, we can check our project, we can benchmark, we can test, we can run, we can install, uninstall, we can publish. So these are all the commands we can use with cargo. So first we are going to do cargo build. So it's now completed. So we now see we have one more folder, target folder, which is going to have debug folder. Inside that we are going to have the yt.exe, which is the executable file that cargo will run when we are going to use cargo run. So we are going to do cargo run. So we see the message hello world. So our program ran successfully. We also created a cargo log file, which we are going to discuss later. So we are going to use some more commands that cargo provides us. So we are going to do cargo doc. Open flag is to open it in a browser. So cargo doc is basically going to create a document for our project. So now we have the documentation of our project. This is the documentation automatically created by running the cargo doc command. So we can define the documentation in our project. And when we run the cargo doc command, all the documentation will be here. So we can go into the definition of the main function. And once we create more functions and provide documentation for it in our project, all those are going to show up here. So let me make my code look ugly. So I'm going to save it. So we can use cargo fmt to format our code. This is also provided by cargo. We also have a command called cargo clippy. So right now our code is very less, but once we have a lot of code, so what cargo clippy is going to do is it's going to give us warning that this code needs to be changed because it's smelly or it's not performant. We can also run the command called cargo test. Since we are not having any test cases right now, so it's showing pass 0, fail 0. We'll have a look into how to create test cases and benchmarks later on. Right now what's happening is every time we make change in our file, we have to do cargo run again and again. For example, if I change this to hello Vivek, save it and do cargo run. But I want it to run automatically. For this, we have two solutions. Either we can use cargo watch or we can use bacon. Let's first do it with bacon. So I'm going to do cargo install bacon. So now bacon is installed. So we can simply do bacon. So if I make any changes in the file, for example, I'm going to remove the semicolon. It's going to show us error without having to do cargo run. So let's fix it. It's again going to run it without having to do cargo run. It's not compiling the code, it's just checking the code. So it's a pretty handy tool. Let's do the same process using CargoWatch. So this is the official documentation of CargoWatch. So we can simply install CargoWatch by running this command, cargo install CargoWatch. And here we also have more documentation, how to use it. It's clearly showing that we can do -X and we can append the thing that we want to do. For example, if we want to do test, check, run, we can mention that after -X. Now we are going to install CargoWatch. So the installation is complete. Let's run this command CargoWatch. So here Q is to run it quietly, C is to clear the terminal every time we save the file, and then we have -X, and then we are giving it run Q to run it quietly. So let's run it. Yeah, it's running. So now if I make changes in my file, if I do dd, save it, it's automatically going to rerun it. That's so cool. So now let's append check and test in the same command and see what are the changes. First it did the check, then it did the test, then it ran the run command. So besides these tooling, we can also use Cargo Expand. So we will look into it when we are going to do macros and stuff that is related to metaprogramming. We also have Cargo Lambda. Here it is mentioned that it's a sub command to help you work with AWS Lambda. If you don't want to install Rust in your system, then you can go on to this website, play.rustlang.org. It's a pretty cool website. And here we have a lot of options. We have debug and release. We have different channels that we can use. We can use stable channel, beta channel, and nightly channel. So nightly is very good for developer purposes. Then we also have the tools, Rust FMT, Clippy, and it also supports the macros. We can also do configuration here. We can change the editor, we can change the UI. Then we also have flavors. So if you don't want to install on your system, then you can pretty much use this. And you can also use this to run small programs that you want to test something. So this is it for this video. Hope you like the content of this video. Make sure to like the video and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you next time. Thank you for watching the video.